My name is Olivia Hibley, and I will be giving a presentation on humanism and Renaissance art. During the Middle Ages, people's lives were centered around the powerful body that is the Church. The Church acted as the people's government and played a significant role in everyday living. Artists were commissioned to create pieces that pushed the Church's ideals, not about humans' place in the natural world. As the Renaissance started, though, the humanist way of thinking began to spread. The humanist way of thinking places focus on what humans are capable of in the natural world. Rather than putting religion and the divine realm at the center of their lives, people began focusing on themselves, the natural world, and the here and now. Humanist thinkers learned to enjoy life through creating and learning new things about the world around them. Rather than trusting everything they had been told, humanists became more curious and started to discover answers to their questions themselves and did not rely on a powerful body such as the Church to tell them everything. Throughout the Renaissance, artists began creating art that went against societal norms. Renaissance art embodied naturalism, individualism, and secularism. Individualism is defined as the desire and ability to stand out from the norm, to call attention to oneself and be perceived as different by others, according to Vanderbilt. Secularism is defined as an emphasis on living well in the world and understanding better the activities of the world, political, economic, social, and intellectual, also according to Vanderbilt. Naturalism is used in art to depict objects as they appear in nature. Art created during the Renaissance embodied naturalism, individualism, and secularism, each of which are humanist values. The School of Athens, created by Renaissance artist Raphael, is a fresco painting commissioned by Pope Julius II. Through its incredibly accurate details and techniques used, the School of Athens embodies naturalism. Raphael used a technique called foreshortening, which makes it so certain parts of figures appear smaller, that way they look like they are closer to the viewer. He also used a technique called linear perspective, as the edges of all the figures lead to a singular point in the center. This technique is used to make it seem like what the viewer is seeing is real and not just a painting. This fresco represents focusing on the natural world rather than the divine realm. As people began to focus more on themselves, they began to realize that the capabilities are endless when it comes to how much they can accomplish in the fields of science, literature, and art. The location of the School of Athens also plays a part in its significance. The painting is located in the Vatican Library, which is a place where people go to expand their knowledge of the natural world. Each wall of the Stanza della Signatura represents one of the four branches of human knowledge: philosophy, theology, poetry, and justice. On the wall opposite of the School of Athens is the Disputation of the Holy Sacrament, which represents theology. This painting contains the Fathers of the Church beneath Christ, who has his hands wide open to a space without walls, encapsulating nature as Earth's church. The School of Athens, on the other hand, is of great thinkers contained within man-made walls of Plato's Academy. This further pushes the humanist value of naturalism in Raphael's painting. Discoveries of that natural world cannot be found solely within religion, rather, they must be discovered through humans asking and answering questions about the world around them. The School of Athens also embodies individualism, another core value of humanism. Individualism celebrates the fact that people are different from one another, whether it be personalities, appearances, or skills. This is shown in the School of Athens as each subject appears different from one another. Each philosopher has a unique expression on their face, is wearing different clothing, and is engaging in a unique activity. Rather than Raphael depicting a scene that honored religion, he honored the accomplishments of great thinkers. In his fresco, knowledge is being celebrated through individuals writing, discussing, and teaching each other new ideas. Standing side by side is Plato and Aristotle at the center of the painting, each of whom were great philosophers. Plato is holding a copy of his book called Timaeus, and he is also pointing towards the sky. Plato's position in the painting represents his theory of forms. which states that the world is not physical but is rather made up of abstract ideas and concepts. Aristotle has one of his hands stretched out towards the viewer, and his other hand holds his book called Nicomache's Ethics. Aristotle's position in the fresco represents his theory that one must have experience in the physical world in order to gain knowledge and evidence to support their ideas. Each surrounded by students eager to learn is Pythagoras and Euclid, each of whom were great philosophers. Pythagoras was known for his scientific and mathematical discoveries, while Euclid is considered to be the father of geometry. Raphael's painting also embodied secularism, which meant that people were more focused on living a fulfilling life and gaining knowledge rather than on religion in the divine realm. A main pillar of humanism is the desire to learn, and the School of Athens is a painting of a school fostering a discussion of many things about the natural world around them. None of the philosophers painted are known for accomplishments relating to religion in the divine realm. During the Middle Ages, artists were restricted in what they could create. Art was used to teach information the church wanted the people to know. It was rarely used to evoke emotion or show creativity. During the Renaissance, the meaning behind art began to shift. When Raphael painted himself into his painting, he was proving his abilities to the world. Honoring oneself in their work would have been frowned upon during the Middle Ages, as artists were only to honor God. The School of Athens is a great representation of the shift from artists predominantly focusing on religion in their work to expressing their creativity and knowledge more. Art created during the Renaissance was clearly shaped by humanist values of individualism, secularism, and naturalism. The School of Athens is a very significant piece in Renaissance history, and much of that significance can be attributed to its humanist qualities. Art created during the Renaissance represented a major turn in history. The spread of humanism drastically changed the way people spend their lives in the natural world. The School of Athens showed the world that it is okay to be different, and that differences should actually be celebrated. The responsibility to gain knowledge about the natural world does not only fall into the hands of the divine, but to humans as well. Without Raphael's masterpiece, some people may have never gained the courage and inspiration to learn more about the world they live in. These are the sources that I used to gather information for this presentation. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.